Mayor Sanchez, members of the council, and the public. I would like to begin by emphasizing the importance of free speech. It is the only way to ensure that all viewpoints are heard, and that allows the best ideas to rise to the top. More generally, it is also a good thing that people speak out when there is something wrong in the world. Attempting to mitigate tragic events makes the world a better place. But there also is the matter of relevance and items brought to these city council meetings. A local municipality is limited in scope and resources. It cannot be expected to evaluate or impact events or policies outside of its jurisdiction. This is especially true with regard to international affairs. Our federal government has treaties and alliances that are complex in their dynamics and often multifaceted in their effects, utilizing information and intelligence gathering that is only known to the federal government. Local municipalities simply do not have this sort of competence or reach. Any attempt to propel our municipal council into international affairs is folly. It is simply not equipped for the task and lacks jurisdiction. Simply put, international affairs are not the purview of a municipal council. We are all Americans, and we should be loyal to America. We should honor and respect our international alliances. We are not in a position to competently judge otherwise. Western nations, and America in particular as the leader of the Western world, has enemies, specifically globalists and Marxists who wish to weaken and subdue Western societies. These groups are well-funded and have spent significant sums to infiltrate and subvert the West and America by open borders, welfare states, lax enforcement of criminal laws, and attacks on traditional values. We are seeing this pattern in Western nations everywhere. Weakening alliances would also hurt the West. There are many tragedies in the world, such as the Russian invasion of Ukraine or the reports of organ harvesting of Uyghurs by the Chinese Communist Party. Both are examples of malicious actions by non-Western nations who are America's geopolitical rivals. The fact that there is only silence from Western so-called humanitarian activists should be telling to their motives, at least to those leading these efforts at the top. Yet the only outcry is for those in Gaza. I find it odd that so much energy and resources are spent by protesters about Gaza who claim humanitarianism as their motive, but hear only crickets about every other tragedy in the world. The anti-Israeli protests across America are clearly not organic, but organized and well-funded. Deep pockets are clearly funding these protests across the country. If successful, these protests will drive a wedge between Western alliances. To be clear, I am an American citizen loyal only to America. I have no allegiance to Israel or Palestine, but support U.S. alliances in good faith. Never underestimate the power of propaganda. At a recent council meeting, a young protester all but disavowed our great nation. I suspect that many of these young American protesters are unknowing pawns in a strategy to harm America and the West by weakening alliances. It would be so sad if that were the case, because these young protesters have been manipulated into attacking their own country and sacrificing their birthright as American citizens. The persistence of these protesters is interesting, especially the focus on municipalities that have absolutely zero influence on Israel or U.S. global alliances. They have made repeated demands to this council. Why put so much effort into demanding a local entity make a statement that is meaningless by any practical measure? The answer is simple: because it is a symbol of submission to the progressive left. These demands are strictly a move to establish political dominance over local governments and further the left's agenda to assert control in America. This must be fought. I'd like to close by pointing out that if international events can be deemed acceptably relevant by adding a request for a resolution from this council, then that opens the door for this council to advance requests to speak for any issue in the world, as long as simply it is requesting a resolution is added to that. If that is the standard going forward, it opens the door to a lot of new topics to bring to this council chamber. For the record, I'd also like to state what the previous speaker noted, that I too oppose any legal restriction on criticism of Israel. Criticism is a valid feedback to correct bad actions, should those occur by any entity. To say that one cannot be criticized gives that entity free rein and power to commit bad acts without any pushback. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now